Three.js is a cross-browser JavaScript library used to create and display animated 3D computer graphics in a web browser. Three.js is a relatively new technology, however, it changed our web experience a lot. This example was my inspiration to create an interactive web page with a configurable 3D object. During exploration of Three.js, I learned how to create a graphical user interface to use it for the menu, apply textures to the objects, and JavaScript basics to understand where Three.js comes from. With all gained knowledge, I was able to create my final furniture configurator page. In HTML file, I wrote the path to the libraries. Libraries contain all needed information to create the further functionalities. Three.js library is a single JavaScript file which includes all necessary information to run the project. JSON Loader is the library which reads converted 3D objects in JSON format, and thus we are able to include them in JavaScript code. jQuery is a JavaScript library that focuses on the interaction of JavaScript and HTML. The jQuery library helps you easily assess any DOM element. Orbit controls allow the camera to orbit around a target. Main scene is the last file loaded, which contains most of the information. In Three.js, first of all, we need to set up the basic scene, which has the main variables scene, camera, and renderer. In Three.js, there are two functions, render and init. Init, which stands for initialization, and here we define the basic Three.js setup. Renderer also loops through the code, and here it rotates a group of objects with x-axis with a defined speed. For renderer, I set clear color, so I want my scene to be transparent, and alpha stands for this. Controls stand for orbit controls. They are defined in HTML file, which is also a Three.js library. You can also see that it refers to the renderer DOM element. DOM element is our canvas, and it is defined in CSS file. In controls, I also stated the rate for each interaction. On camera position, X is height, Y is width, and Z is depth of an object positioned on the page. And then we tell camera to always look at the scene, so its position is fixed and it's not rotating or doing whatever we don't want it to do. Then we define three basic lights with giving it hex colors. Without the light, the scene would not be visible. Textures are placed in arrays, and basically, if I wanted to add more textures, I just add them in the next line of the code. I assign those textures to the current material. Loader function helps us loading a model to the stage. Loading a model is a tricky thing itself. It can be done by first modeling an object in Blender, then you can install a plugin, and it adds the possibility to convert a model into a JSON file, which is a lightweight data interchange format. It is easy for humans to read and write, and it is easy for machines to phrase and generate. Then converted file looks like this and contains all important information like meshes, materials, and geometries. Then the main important part of the code is of course loading the object. Here I created the material and called the JSON model itself later as all others, where I don't want to change materials. First of all, I have to load the textures with texture loader. Then I'm calling the current back material, which is then being changed in the beginning of the code where I refer to the texture files. In order to properly load the model, I call the loader variable. Then it refers to the file and calls the function, which are being loaded on top of each other. In order to change the texture, it is important to state that back material needs update true, which literally tells the code that this special item needs to be updated. In loader function, it takes the geometry information, it defines material and meshes for the object, and then we set the scale for it. In variable mScale, I set the scale to the object in the beginning, so when I refresh the page, it opens up in the size I set it to be.